Transformation is a bit like change on steroids. So there's a clear set of skills to manage change that most leaders need, but beyond that, the way the world is changing so fast now in terms of impermanence, in terms of the massive amounts of complex information, there are some other critical things that leaders need to bring. One is confidence. Even if you're only a sort of day ahead of your team, how can I convey some confidence that there's some progress to be made here? How can I empathize deeply with the current situation? And even though you see massively rising stakeholder expectations, how can I still provide the right information to show that we're on top of things, but how can I still provide inspiration to say, well, why? How can we get better? And I think the third sort of couplet of critical skills are, how can I still maintain belonging for my teams? Because, you know, I could be on 19 different projects, but belonging is so important as stuff is sort of falling apart. And how can I instill agility? Because it's not about getting good at one thing, because I don't know for me and my teams what's needed tomorrow. So that sort of embedding agility, being good at it, role modeling it is huge going forward. So we have a huge opportunity to think differently about how we do this, do it better. Too much of what we do leaves leaders in this intellectual domain and doesn't get them into an emotional, relational domain, which is crucial. It's important to understand the big picture of transformation and be in that balcony position, but we believe that you can't transform an organization unless you know how to transform one person, how to transform yourself, what it really viscerally feels like to be on the dance floor. And that's not being taught. We had a famous quote from one of our leaders that said, we love to learn, but we hate to be taught. And so in order to pull that off, the learning has to be more immersive, more experiential, more discovery, and more of a sort of group helping each other rather than the all too typical, you know, day at a time, intellectual, professor style input. But how can you get leaders to sort of play and really understand and experience their own emotional reactions to this? Learning as a function has an amazing opportunity to do more. We need to move from being the sort of gap fulfillment department where we wait to be told, here's the change, here are the skills, fix them, to think of ourselves as this kind of forum where all sorts of ideas can be discussed, challenged, talked about in every learning event, in every learning touchpoint. So we need to think more than just, are we conveying the strategy of the organization, but how does our culture show up in all learning touchpoints? What is the user experience? Why would employees join our organization? Because of what they get out of learning. And then what is the future? Are we asking ourselves this question of, how do we get people ready for 3 years from now? Are we really teaching a basic, how do I learn model so that people can take ownership of this and then we can support it?